All right, let's go ahead and make me larger. Okay, so you've probably heard of Tinder by now, and I'm sure you've also heard, well, maybe you haven't, of Noonlight. Noonlight is a safety and security app that Tinder users can use to feel more safe when they're going out on dates. So when you're going to meet up with someone from Tinder, you can use Noonlight to alert first responders if you feel unsafe. So if you feel unsafe during your outing, you can press a button in Noonlight or in Tinder and it will let first responders know and they will come to your location. So a much needed safety feature for people meeting up with strangers in real life. Now today we're going to talk about a scam that takes advantage of the vulnerability and fear that these particular users might have and tries to get them to hastily enter their credit card information, which the users think they're using to sign up for a safety feature within Tinder through Noonlight, but actually you're just passing your credit card information over to scammers. But before we begin this video, a quick disclaimer in case my girlfriend watches. I am not now, nor have I ever been a user of Tinder, except for those 2 weeks before we were dating, where we both used Tinder and we looked at each other's profiles and it was cute and it was fun. But since then, I have never downloaded Tinder because we were entering a relationship and I would never do that. And I would never do anything to jeopardize it. And I'll give you goodbye. All right, now let's talk about the scam. So this is the first site I found associated with the scam, and there's another one we'll get into in a second, and I'll show you how I got to that one too. So first of all, this is a page called TinderNoonlight.com. And right out of the gate, it says Tinder Noonlight International, which is fascinating because I don't think Tinder nor Noonlight formed a new corporate entity to support this integration. So this right out of the gate just doesn't make any sense, which is outstanding. If we scroll down, the social media icons are also immediately kind of interesting. They're all pointing to, like this one is pointing to not a Twitter account, but a hashtag it looks like. So let's take a look. Yeah, okay, so the Twitter hashtag for DV, which is terrible. And if we scroll down, let's take a look at the other ones. Same thing. YouTube video, let's see. Okay, great. So the idea here is the scammers are trying to take advantage. It's like a little bit of a touch of emotional manipulation. They're trying to take advantage of the vulnerability of the users of the app. So if you're a Tinder user and you're coming here looking for safety, you're looking up, TinderNoonlight.com, and because both those words are in this URL, they've ranked highly on the search results that you'll see via some SEO techniques that I'm sure they're using. This is what you'll see first. And the emotional response that they're playing on is obviously that, the sad stories and scary images and things you'll see when you click on these will create a sense of urgency in you that, you want to get away from the possibility of being a victim of something like this. Now, also lots of spelling errors and grammatical errors on the website. This does not start with a capital. This does not. It's definitely not sort of like state-of-the-art UI UX you'd expect from a company like Tinder or from a company like Noonlight. They do have an embedded video here from Tinder India. Tinder's excited about the live feature. So again, why on a Noonlight integration announcement page would they be advertising Tinder Live? Another reason to be like, this is bizarre. This text going over this image is outstanding web design. And also, I'm sure these are not accurate numbers. Tinder is definitely doing way bigger numbers than this. So you'll find the Tinder Noonlight on all global personals dating safety sites. So there's a lot of sentences in these that are a little bit broken and don't make a whole lot of sense, but are trying to establish some sort of Noonlight or safety ethos. Again, same video we saw up top, trying to create a sense of urgency or fear in the user, who is someone who wants to feel safe while meeting up with people. And create your account. So I think what they're trying to do is convince us that this is a Noonlight website. So when I click create account, I'm assuming I'm making a Noonlight account. Help our cause and be a member. Your support and contributions will enable us to meet our goals and improve conditions. Your generous donation will fund our mission. Okay, so now this is our latest members. Now these are just random photos pulled online. I'm sure if we do a reverse image search on any of these, we'll see them in a handful of places. And they've got little descriptions here, also sort of broken sentences, and definitely not, maybe actual Tinder users from some other testimonials website, but Very unlikely to be legitimate. And then the last thing here that's interesting is this is a Gmail account. It's saying to get in contact with. Now this will bounce back to sender. This account does not actually exist. But Tinder noonlight cs@gmail.com is what they're claiming is the email to contact to get in touch with, I don't know, Tinder or Noonlight, I guess. Illegitimate, obviously, not associated with the email domain used by either of these companies. The address here I looked up. This is a hotel, a not particularly well-liked hotel in San Francisco. And this phone number is a Saskatchewan area code, I think. Yep, Canadian province of Saskatchewan. So this is not... none of this is lining up right out of the gate, but these are not things people would typically look at or care about, especially not if you're someone who's like, "Ooh, I got to be safe because look at all the concerns I have," which are actually legitimate concerns, and this scam is trying to play on that. So if we go into any of these, it's going to walk us through the same process, which I haven't done much with yet. Okay, Tinder Noonlight International login. Let's just enter in nonsense here and see what happens. Please validate to enter the members area. Okay, so it's saying you don't actually have an account. Let's validate that. Now, I wonder if it actually would if I had a real account. Okay, create a username. Again, we're just going to type in random stuff. Join. Okay, and now it wants me to pay. Let's see what happens if I click skip payment. Well, I'll check the skip payment box and then enter in a bunch of nonsense here. All right, click here for access. Your credit card brand is not accepted. All right, well, what happens if we skip payment? Okay, so you can't actually skip payment. You have to enter in what they consider to be valid credit card data. Let's look up the first 4 digits of major credit card companies and see if that's what they're doing as their verification. Most of them are the same. Or I think each credit card company uses a different combination to start them off. Oh, the first 6 digits. Okay. American Express always begins with a 3-4. Okay, brand is not accepted. Oh, these are MasterCard, okay. 2 and 3 for MasterCard. MasterCards that begin with a 2 are not accepted yet. Okay. Let's try 3. Credit card brand is not accepted. 4. Please enter a valid card number. Okay, so these are, again, these errors are looking really sketchy. They're not like the errors you would see that would typically show up in the actual box. Something a little bit more descriptive than please correct the form data. So a little sketchy. Let's see if we can get some info on who this might be sending to for verification, which we'll just use Chrome's little network monitor here. So let's reload this page. It'll pull up the credit card box. I'll enter in some nonsense. It doesn't care. It's not actually validating this. Usernames only start with a letter. Okay. At least it knows that. Okay, back at the credit card page. Let's see if we notice it. Okay, this is immediately strange. Lamborghini. Let's see if there's anything else that's in here. Lamborghini.joinsafelyonline.com. All right. After we look at this, all this stuff, we'll jump into that. Let's go back to the homepage here, though. So if we go to account validation, let's see. I think this is. We already did that one. Let's go to register. So this is where we would be registering again, thinking we're creating a Noonlight account. Okay, so Tinder referral code. This is just a plain text allowing form that's asking me for my credit card number, the expiration date, the CVV or the CVC, and all of my contact information. So let's see if it just accepts random nonsense. So if it does, obviously it's not doing any kind of legitimate verification to confirm our identities because it doesn't want to throw us an error. It just wants us to enter our credit card information, and then this probably sends it to some database they have, or like form submitting based on whatever form website they're using or form service they're using. It just sends the information to them raw. So they will take the credit card information and go do something with it. This is not actually being sent immediately to a payment processor. Again, random stuff. Sign in. Okay, so it's accepted whatever I just entered. It did not tell me anything's done or anything's wrong. It says, you're almost done. Welcome to Tinder Noonlight International Account Validation System for newly registered members. Okay, so all of that was bizarre. It definitely just sent that form to them. But let's plug this website into a really fun web viewing tool, a web sandbox tool called urlscan.io. So we'll plug in tindernoonlight.com and see what comes up. This will allow us to see the actual like HTTP transactions that go on and any IOCs on the page, links, redirects. Okay, one similar page on different IPs. So it looks like it's telling me that there's a page that is structurally similar. So like has probably the same like embedded resources, but is hosted on a different domain. So let's check this one out. Organization-act.com. OAPVVHA. Okay, so this is Tinder Organization for Anti-Physical, Visual, and Verbal Harassment Act. Organization-act.com is, I can just shy of guarantee you, not the domain that Tinder would use for this landing page. They would probably use maybe act.tinder.com or oapvvha.tinder.com. This would be a subdomain of Tinder. But let's take a look at the landing page on Tinder Noonlight. Ushering in a new era of safety. Okay, these are virtually the same site here. So these are line for line, just as URL Scan told us. These are just line for line copies of each other. Let's see if everything. Okay, the only difference here, it looks like, is this oapvvhacs@gmail.com, which we will send an email to and see if it's legitimate. This one rejects mail, so this returns to sender. That's not actually a registered Gmail account. This one might be. We'll test that out later. Let's take a look at the little address and phone data. Yep, that's exactly the same. Okay, so these are a part of the same scam, but are just hosted on different domains. This one is just claiming to be a different organization, I guess directly Tinder affiliated, and I'm assuming that everything will be the same behavior. Okay, register, login, account validation. Let's do register, see if we get the same form as before. Yep, okay. Oh, so this is different. Donate $1, skip payment, or $39.99 premium membership. Whereas here, when you register, $2.99 payment for account processing. Okay, I mean, in reality, all this is doing is sending them your information in plain text. They're just getting your credit card number and your, what other information you include here so that they can plug it into other stuff in their scammy fashion. But this is not actually being processed. I'm assuming probably not even for these amounts, and probably not immediately either. I'm sure there's a manual passover they have with your credit card information before they do anything legitimate with it, which is typical of sort of low-tech scams like this. So let's, again, just enter in a bunch of nonsense. It'll probably tell us that our nonsense looks great and we're almost done. Let's try it out. It's loading. Okay, great. We're almost done. It loved our nonsense. Free verification process. Let's enter in a username, which is just random nonsense. It's probably going to think that's fine also. No real validation. The username is already in use. Oh, so I've done this one too many times. We're 3. Okay. So this is the same page we saw on the other one where it's asking us for our actual credit card information. So this one's at organizationact.com. This one's at tindernoonlight.com. Let's reload this page, inspecting the network, and see what we see. Let's see if it's the same little registersafely.com/routes WLID. So we might be getting some kind of tenant information from these transactions, which would maybe point us to the payment processor in use, and then maybe we could report this particular user ID if we find it in the initiator link, but maybe not. We'll save that for another video. So I've shown you how these scams operate and what they look like, and some little tidbits on how to identify that one of these sites is a scam, which is email addresses, referral links, and pretty much all flavor of grammatical errors that indicate that this is not a professionally curated or spun up website, and contact information and location information that has no actual direct affiliation with the company. Now, speaking of contact information, let's call that phone number and see what happens. All right, I hope that was valuable. That was just a sort of quick stream of consciousness, live web forensics, very, very high-level web forensics look at this scam. Now, I look at a lot of scams, and I usually like to track down the people behind the operations. So I'll keep an eye on this one, and if anything interesting develops, or if the audience is particularly interested, I'll keep an eye on this operation and post updates as they come. So let me know in the comments what you think, and subscribe, I guess, if you want to see more. I don't know. Have a good one.